Hello everybody, what's happening? Hope you had a good weekend and I hope all the dads had a good Father's Day. I wasn't really up to much yesterday apart from eating and just chilling, watching some shit on TV, did a wee live. As you know, I'm in between dojos at the moment, so I haven't been to a class since like 21st of May. So time's cracking on. Uh, but I got in touch with another gym this morning about the possibility of training there. So they just said to come down. I'm gonna let Christopher try it out. Even though I'm pretty conflicted about letting him leave karate, but at the end of the day, it's the knowledge. It's what counts, not the colour of your belt. It's just I think preoccupation with belts and stuff is, to me, I wouldn't say a red flag, but it's kind of like uninformed, or else you're in it for the wrong reasons or whatever. Like when I first kind of started doing this stuff, I always assumed it took years to go from one belt to the other, but it's not really like that. Well, in karate, at least. But he's only one stripe away from a black belt, but at the same time, even though he goes for a grading in November, once he gets that stripe on his belt, it doesn't automatically means he's getting a black belt. It just means if they feel you're ready for it or whatever, your black belt material, then they'll nominate you for it. And that's still 2 years away. So I'm kind of conflicted about letting him drop out so close to his goal, and then at the same time just going like, let, let him, if he wants to do boxing, let him do boxing. He wants to try boxing, but this place that I contacted today is just like kickboxing and jits, and I think there's MMA and all that other stuff there, but striking and grappling under one roof. I mean, you can't really grumble with that. But whatever, it's only something different. It's only something new on it. But in the meantime, I joined a local regular gym until such times as I'm going down here. But I think it's Wednesday or something, or Tuesday. With to go down, so all's good. But moving on, I noticed I haven't really put a lot of content out in the past couple of weeks. It's mostly been lives and shorts, and it isn't really through lack of topics. Because the one thing about crime is, it's if you're a crime reporter, I'm not a crime reporter, right? But you know what I mean. It's the gift that keeps on giving. There's never going to be a shortage of crime to report on. And recently I was looking at trying to find something Scottish, right? And I watched a documentary last night that I'll make a video on later, because this was actually the video that I was coming on to make today, right? Until I opens a fucking email, right? And it was a Daily Record. Who's on the front page? I cunt I was in Low Moss with, right? Didn't talk to him, didn't have dealings with him, but he was on my landing. His name was Alan Baker, right? And this guy had completely went out my mind until I just opened that email today, right? Now, as some of you who have followed this channel from the start, in the fucking 18 months it's been online on YouTube, whatever, right? Will remember that I was in Low Moss prison when they rebuilt it, and I went there in, like, was it March, April 2012, right? Now, round about a year later, this boy comes out of hall. Never really, as I say, he struck me as, my first impression was, he wasn't one of the boys, one of the troops, like that. Like, you can, they say a lot of the times in prison, I know you can kind of suss people out by who they mix with. And he would mix with more of the quieter prisoners, the guys that weren't taking drugs, fighting, fucking using phones, whatever they're doing, right? And I remember he used to be with this one boy all the time. Can't mind his name. I think he was Rab. The two of them are life sentence prisoners. Now this Alan Baker had been convicted of a brutal murder, right? He'd lured a guy back to his house that he'd met on a gay website, a gay dating site, whatever, and stabbed him to death. Like, there was seemingly no motive, right? So he's lured this guy back to his house, and like an hour later, stabbed him to death, and went to court and made out he couldn't remember doing it, and he couldn't, oh, I just woke up like this and all that. Fucking, I don't know why people like that just don't go, right, listen man, fucking horns up man, it's a fair cop, gov, know what I mean? But, you know what I mean, you've got to get inside the mind of some people. And the thing was with this case was, it was, I don't know, they were making out he just stabbed this guy for no reason, blah blah blah, but I'm sure in prison he was claiming, this was what I remember being told in prison, right? Now, as I say, I'd forgot about this guy until I seen him in the papers. Excuse me. The rumour going about in Low Moss was, he went back to this guy's flat, right? Whatever the agreement was before that, but while the guys went into the toilet or something, he's told somebody that there was a laptop open or something, or a computer, or whatever it was, right? And he saw dodgy images of children on there, right? And I believe that there was some allegations of this type of thing in Alan Baker's past, right? And apparently it's meant to have triggered them and all that, but I don't remember seeing that in the news reports, right? So I don't know if that's just a story he came out with in prison, because you do get people like that. You get people that are in for, say for talking's sake, killing an old guy, right? Now that would be frowned upon, right, obviously, but like, if you start saying things like, oh, he grabbed my balls, he tried to fucking feel my arse, he tried to kisses and fucking show me pictures and videos and all, and then it's seemingly more acceptable, obviously, like, to be fair, anything like that towards a beast is acceptable to me, but I do realise that people, they use it as an excuse to say things like, oh, that's how it's like, try to justify it a bit, but it's still murder in it. But you might be asking why, how is this relevant to now, right? Why is he in the paper today, right? And the funny thing is, right, he had changed his name. Now, Alan Baker was otherwise known as like Alex fucking whatever, right? So he's constantly, we see this, and to me this is a heavy red flag, right, for the worst, right? Now, I'm not saying he is, but to me this is the kind of tick boxes I'd expect to be with a pure psychopath, right? See all that changing your name, changing your identity constantly, like criminal versatility, like, what is he playing it? Like, you're in jail, bro, you're a convicted killer, how the fuck, like, have you got these multiple names? And see, the funny thing is, right, see, when I was having no told them this, right, don't really care anyway. So when I was in education, that Alan Baker used to be in education all the time with his boyfriend, right? So he had a boyfriend, but they were in a different section for me. And they were always arguing in education and all. It was fucking piping, mate. Anyway, that Alan Baker was always in the IT rooms, he typing, fucking, like you could tell he was writing something pretty lengthy. And I don't know if any of you know this, right, but see when there's a network, see when you print something off, it's connected to that network, anybody else with an account can see that if you printed it. Because normally what they used to do is, while in prison when they print stuff off, they delete it, but like I was going in there all the time and reading the shit he was writing, man, and it was sick. Just talking about fucking going to meet guys and what they were doing and how, but this was the interesting thing, he hadn't referred to himself in the first person, he was referring to himself in the third person, but he was calling himself this different name, like fucking Cherub, fuck knows what, right? It was something, it was like the Cherub or the fucking, you could just tell he was talking about himself. There's no way MD could read this and make any other conclusion that he's talking about himself, right? And I remember reading it, right, like I used to go in all the time and let's see if I was printing shit off, I would look and see if his shit was on the printer, and there was like he was writing about his crime and all that and all, like fucking, I don't remember like verbatim or not, we're talking a long time ago, we're talking like fucking over 10 years ago, but like the shit with the laptop was in there and all that, like the guy had a laptop opening when he went to the toilet, I've seen it, like, I don't know how true this is, right, but think it this way, right, see if you were a beast and you were going to meet somebody on a date, would you leave all your fucking shit lying about? Even if you were a dealer and you're going to meet somebody for fucking do a transaction, you're not going to, but yeah, and you want to bring them back to the gaff for whatever reason, you're not going to leave shit lying about so that they can see what the script is, you know what I mean? I don't know how true his accusations are, but the funny thing is, right, that he's caused a bit of a legal storm, right, because he's identifying as a female now, right, and it's a bit of a weird one, right, so he's been moved to a female jail, right, he's self-identified as a female and all this fucking piss, right, but he's ended up in the paper, right, because him and this other convicted killer were fighting or another convicted killer, funnily enough. So we have Alan Baker, right, who has basically been battling into this fucking reprobate that's in for killing a wee toddler. I remember that case, I think it was in Fife. Can't mind the lass's name, but I'm sure it's in this article. I was in jail at the time. It was her and her pal were a lesbian lover killed the wee boy, fucking scumbags, man. But this is what it says, right? Trans killer has criminal record wiped clean after thug self-identified as a woman in jail. So what they're basically saying was, because he'd basically been getting bullied off this woman prisoner because he had stole her bird. But this woman prisoner, I can't mind her name, Janie Sutherly her name was, right? So she was doing 6 years for a culpable homicide for stabbing a guy with a pair of scissors, right? And she's apparently been bullying this Alan Baker for stealing her bird. Can't mind the lassie's name, but I'll find it in a minute. But the lassie who was that Janie Sutherly's bird was in for killing like a wee toddler, right? Absolute barbaric, right? And this Alan Baker's, he must have got this woman charged because there's a court case, right? Now, this woman was for either not proven or not guilty, right, of bullying him over the course of 4 years, but what kind of justice system do we have where three convicted killers are all in court arguing over a bird? Like, what? Are you having a fucking laugh, mate? Like, this is what I'm laughing at, right? I remember, but obviously it's a bit of a segue, but this reminds me of that time Matt Fanny and Low Moss was saying, that's what you get for fucking... When I got done with a racially aggravated breach of the peace, on the word of a convicted murderer, just went up and says, here, he's racially abused me, don't even know what he said I said. Know what I'm talking about? Took 2 years to go to court, got a not guilty, but still. How the fuck can you do that? Like, the prison can take it upon themselves to take you to court and all that. It's a fucking joke, mate. Right, so listen to this. A trans killer's criminal record was wiped clean after the thug self-identified as a woman behind bars. Police Scotland and the Crown Office now face calls for an urgent review after the disturbing case involving trans prisoner Alex Stewart, who was known as Alan Baker when he killed a man. So there you go, right? His name's actually Alex Stewart. He's in the jail as Alan Baker. Now he's calling himself fucking... fuck knows what. Alana Baker. Know what I mean? But campaigners last night urged police and ministers to say whether trans prisoners have had records wiped clean. So now they need to go back and look at all these other cases now, know what I mean? So this will end up being a legal precedent. The blunder came to light after a solicitor requested a standard previous convictions disclosure from the Crown Office and Prosecutor Fiscal Service on prosecution witnesses, including Stewart, in a case that involved alleged conflict inside HMP Greenock. He was provided with full rap sheets for witnesses, all of them prisoners, who had not changed their gender, but the name change had apparently allowed trans killer Stewart to separate himself from his grisly past, as the new name wasn't marked up with any convictions. Sneaky fuck. Campaigners have demanded to know if other trans prisoners also have clean PC records for the new names they gave themselves. Scottish Labour Justice spokeswoman Polly McNeill said, the serious lapse in record keeping risked undermining the judicial process and it must be fully investigated. It is vital that thorough and accurate records are kept for all prisoners and convicted criminals. There should be no way to erase a criminal record, and we need to ensure there are policies in place to ensure that is the case. Why the fuck was he not put down as AKA? Like, see if you use dingy names, you give a dingy name, like, see anywhere you go, any paperwork, you'll get that is on there. I don't know how many people I've seen with paperwork with like fucking aliases and dingy setting names and all that. You're like, what? So how the fuck can a convicted murderer like get through that loophole? I'm not saying he done it intentionally, but it seems that it's just kind of occurred. He stumbled on this and it's blew up. Listen to this. The scandal came to light during the case of hairdresser Janie Sutherley, who killed a man with a pair of scissors. Sutherley, 51, was acquitted at Greenock Sheriff Court last month of carrying out a 4-year campaign of transphobic and homophobic abuse against Stewart, 33, and lover Naomi Fee, 37, a notorious child killer and bag of fucking fat, greasy shit. I know I get a bit vocal, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, innit, man? There's no sugar coating some things, man. people say try and be a bit more objective. How can you be objective with a child killer? Right, so anyway, both are serving time for murdering HMP Greenock, where Stewart was sent from a male prison after deciding to self-identify as a woman. That is fucking crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy. Putting males in female jails. When disclosure requests were made by Sutherly's defence solicitor, Paul Lynch, for both killers, they returned an accurate record for Fee but a blank sheet for Stewart. Imagine that. The guy's in the jail doing a lifer and you get a blank sheet back. Critics believe the error would not have been picked up if it had not been so obvious, occurring in a case where the witness's crime was serious and notorious. A correction was only made after the Crown was told that Stewart was appearing in the witness box as a prisoner and serving a life sentence for murder. Fucking hell, man. Fucking get with the programme, get it sorted out. Fuck's sake. A new search was eventually done under the killer's old name, which revealed the murder conviction and other PCs. I don't know what the fuck PCs is meaning, but I'm assuming it means past convictions or previous convictions. COPFS has blamed Police Scotland for providing the dangerously flawed information. And the COPFS, I'm assuming, is Crown Office Procurator Fiscal Service, which is basically like the judicial arm of Scotland. Can't I believe that this is actually happening, man. What a story, man. Both organisations have refused to state how many killers, rapists or other dangerous offenders may also have had their criminal slates wiped clean due to the blunder. Well, I don't imagine there's that many cases yet. Know what I mean? We're not exactly a big country. Know what I mean? Susan Stewart of the For Women Scotland group, which won a Supreme case ruling that defines all people's sex by their biology, said, "When will those in charge wake up and realise that by permitting prisoners to self-identify their gender, they are playing a stupid game against dangerous criminals who hold all the trump cards? It is chilling to think some of these men may be paroled back into society with a clean sheet and no way to check their past convictions." Let me hold on there. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but I don't imagine anybody in prison for murder who's released on parole, your own life licence. So if you sneezed the wrong way, you'd get recalled for it. I don't see any way there wouldn't be to check somebody's past convictions. I kind of don't see if this woman's on the right track here. I definitely think there should be an inquiry into it, but I don't think there's any chance of a convicted killer being released and no being able to check that up unless he came out and vanished underground, became totally self-sufficient. Then nobody would know who he is, know what I mean? Dr. Kate Coleman of Keep Prisons Single Sex said there should be an urgent inquiry into this fiasco. When I found out that Alan Baker, aka Alex Stewart, had been able to conceal his record of offending in this way, I was shocked but unsurprised. Our research demonstrated that individuals who change gender as part of changing their identity are awarded uniquely enhanced individual privacy rights, which enable exactly this sort of thing. This won't be an isolated case. This is standard practice north and south of the border. It's a fucking joke, man. It's widespread ramifications, including for safeguarding and the operation of Disclosure Scotland checks. For years we have been calling for urgent changes, not just for the recording of data, but the handling and disclosure of data. We cannot have a two-tier system where certain individuals are entitled to conceal vital information on frankly concocted grounds. She continues to say, there must be an urgent investigation into how this has been allowed to happen. I would be delighted to work with the relevant authorities to share our findings and ensure that the necessary steps are taken to ensure that this cannot be permitted to happen again. So here we go, right? Listen to this. Alex Stewart, born Aaron Baker, right? So his name's Aaron Baker, his birth name. He's changed it to fucking Alex Stewart. And then he's writing some mad book about himself in the third person, referring to himself as fucking Darth Vader, whatever the fuck it was. And now he's changed to a woman. Like, sounds like a guy's in a bit of a been a bit of crisis all his life, man. Anyway, Stewart, born Aaron Baker, was caged for at least 19 years for knifing dad of two, John Weir, 36. In 2016, it was revealed that Stewart, who has full male genitalia, cheers for pointing that out, David Record, was living as a woman behind bars and wore a padded bra and makeup on the female wing. Fucking hell. During the recent criminal trial, it was alleged that women inside HMP Greenock had complained about the couple having sex in the shower block and in a communal area. That is fucking mental, mate. So we've got a guy proclaiming to be homosexual who then kills somebody, who goes on to get convicted of murder and changes his identity in prison, and then gets moved to a women's prison where he's banging a child killer. Fuck is happening out here, man? The fuck's going on? Naomi Fee, 37, so she's a scumbag that he's banging, right? This fucking toad. Excuse my language. Naomi Fee, 37, is serving 24 years after she and civil partner Rachel Trelfa, 34, were convicted for killing Trelfa's son Liam following a horrific campaign of neglect and abuse. That was a really high profile case. I can't mind what year it was, it maybe like 2015 or something, not sure. So Janie Sutherland was jailed for 6 years in 2020 for culpable homicide of Alistair McFadden in a flat in Paisley. So if you'll remember, Janie Sutherland was the woman who is at the centre of this fucking love triangle, this just fucked up love triangle shit. But listen to some of the shit he'd said at his trial, right? So listen to this. So Aaron Baker, 25, invited John Weir, 36, into his home in Bon Hill, Western Bartonshire on 3rd of January this year before stabbing him at least 16 times, sorry. So this is dated 28th of August 2013, so fucking yonks, mate. So he did commit low moss. Claimed to have acted in self-defence, but was convicted of murder and attempted to cover up the crime, right? Baker grinned as he was led handcuffed to the cells to begin his sentence. Aye, strange boy, man, strange boy. Court heard how Mr. Weir went to Baker's home after he swapped details on the dating website. In his evidence, Baker, who described himself as, quote, predominantly gay, said Mr. Weir seemed, quote, a nice gentleman and that there was no animosity. The trial heard claims he later pushed Mr. Weir away when the victim allegedly tried to get him intimate. Baker, who was pursuing a sex change at the time of the murder? Fucking hell, eh? So, this has obviously been before. He's been trying to transition before he's even been out and murdered MD, but I don't know, man. I don't think a guy MD with a dick shouldn't be in a bird's jail, mate. Just common sense, innit? Fuck's sake. What if he bangs her and gets her up with Duff, eh? Governor of fucking Fanny Hill, you gonna fucking babysit? Didn't think so. Fuck's sake, man. Aye, but there's no mention of all that. See all that fucking. There was a laptop open with a fucking with a no indecent images and all that. No mention of that. So don't know if he's just maybe wrote that in that document to spice things up or try and paint himself as a not a hero, but you know what I mean. Like it's a bit more palatable as opposed to some just randomless murder. But it does seem strange that that murder he committed just came out of nowhere. It seems. I don't know if it was. I hate to say symbolic, right? But is he projecting himself onto that victim, John Weir? Is he projecting himself onto him? Like, is he full of self-hatred? Is he ashamed of being gay? Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't give a fuck what you swing, as long as you're no try to fucking. I'm not gonna lie, right? I don't agree with like see like all these parades with fucking cunts dressed as dogs and cunts walking about with fucking next to no clothes on and celebrating sexuality. Me personally, I don't agree with that because to me, see sex and all that, right, all that shit, to me that's not something you mainstream, that's private. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. And I wasn't brought up to believe that, I just thought that. It's no, it's for you, it's between you and the other person, it's no like fucking, oh look at me man, I'm all these mad names they've got for everything, like bro, who gives a fuck if you fucking fancy boys, lassies, fucking, just keep, it's your business, do you know what I mean? It's like, if I go to a pub or I go to a fucking shop or whatever it is, right, and they're harping on about all that, I'm like, bro, I'm here to buy my steak pie, or I'm here to fucking, whatever it is you're there for. What have you got to bring all this shit into it for? There's no need for it, right? I've even got gay pals that have told me that they hate all that pride shit. They're like, I fucking hate that. It's like, how should we be sitting a fuck? I don't really give a fuck. The only thing that I kind of think is, why have we got a whole month for that? We've got one day for veterans and shit. They're the people that should be fucking held in high esteem. Do you know what I mean? But the world's fucked, man. But the point of that rant was what? I do that all the time, man. Fucking, my brain's a highway. Like fucking Spaghetti Junction, man. There's fucking thoughts crossing all over the gaff, man. But no, my point to that was like, I wonder if he was like projecting him, if he's like loathing himself and shit, like, because I did read in that thing, like he was talking about like shit had happened to him as a kid and that, right? It wasn't like pure in detail, but he did allude to things, right? And I believe he was compliant, but I believe that there was older guys taking advantage of him and shit. But I'm wondering, like, if it's some sort of self-hatred locked away in his conscious. I don't know, man. Thinking too deep into it, know what I mean? But, aye, I just couldn't believe that. But when I woke up, but when I checked my emails, right, and I see him on the front page, or, well, it wasn't front page, but it was a photo of him anyway. And he's got moved to a women's jail, right? Convinced the government that he's a woman, and then fucking started shagging a child killer under the nose of the child killer's girlfriend, who was in for killing a guy with a pair of scissors. Like, fucking, what the fuck's going on in this country, man? Know what I mean? But aye, that's all, folks. Fuck's sake. But aye, man, can't make this shit up, can't you know? But anyway, I'm going to leave it there anyway. I'm working on getting a couple of new guests on, man. There's always always one to chase, isn't there? But cheers all yous for watching and that. Sorry I've not been on a while, you just know the shit that's been going on with Ashley and my brother and fucking just my wife, innit? But I'm not crying about it, know what I mean? Shit happens and you just pick up the pieces and move on, know what I mean? But cheers for watching everybody. I'll see you all next time I'm back on, right? Take care.